Okay, so now we're going to be dealing with angles. We were dealing with lines before, and then we were dealing with line segments, and now we're going to be dealing with angles. So let's start with some definitions. So a ray has one endpoint and goes in one direction forever. So it has a starting point and then goes in only one direction. Okay, so it has a line and then only one arrow. So the angles, so in order to create an angle, you have two sides that come together. So a side is a ray of an angle. So it's one of the rays. Okay, so how would I start it? So I'm going to start with the letter P and then Q, and then I would put the arrow above it. So let's do the other one. So P to Q with the arrow over the Q, and then P to R with the arrow over the R. So again, what is your endpoint will be your first letter, and then the second letter will be what is another point on that line, on that ray. Okay, so a side is a ray. There's two of them to make an angle. The vertex is very important. So the vertex is where it starts, where the two rays intersect. You can also call it like the corner. Okay. Okay, so that the P is the vertex, and then those two sides that come off of it. Okay, and then the interior of an angle is the inside. So let's say I say that the interior, in the interior, there is point T. So that is on the interior of the angle. All right, so now let's write down different ways to write an angle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm first going to make this looks like an inequality sign, but it's an angle sign, okay? So how would I write this angle? So I always need to make sure that P is the middle letter. Okay, and if I'm going to write it, I can write Q, P, R. So Q, P, R. And let's say that I want to go the opposite direction. So what if I wanted to go R, P, T? That would work too. But what doesn't change, R, P, Q, sorry. But what doesn't change is what's on the middle. The middle letter is P. The vertex has to be the middle letter. I also see a number. So 3 is in the interior of the angle, so you can also label it as angle 3. Okay, so we're going to be practicing writing angles. All right, now let's talk about different angles. Okay, so a right angle is going to equal 90 degrees. Okay, and I'll have a box there so then you know what it's worth. Okay, and acute angle is very small. It's going to be between 0 and 90 degrees. Okay, so it has to be more than 0 degrees but less than 90 degrees. So more than 0 degrees and less than 90. So it's in that range, okay? We can think of it like, oh, it's so cute. It's it's small. Okay, all right, obtuse is the opposite. We're talking about an angle that's more than 90 and less than 180. So it's more than a right angle, but less than a straight angle. Okay, and then the last one, a straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. Okay, it forms a straight line. Well, how will you know that it's an angle instead of a line? Well, it has this point in between. It might have this little curve right there. So then you know that it's an angle, and it's going to have two rays going in opposite directions. Okay, all right. So looking at these types, let's figure out if it's acute, right, obtuse, or straight, and then we're going to label the angles. So again, we're just learning the language today. Okay, so number 1, okay, well, it doesn't have the box, it's not straight, and it's smaller than 90 degrees. Okay, so it is an acute angle. Okay, now let's write down the different ways to write it. So if I'm writing this angle, DFE, and then EFD. Okay, so those are the ways to write it. You could also write angle F, but I think it's in our best interest to write it with that middle letter. So so you need 3 letters. Make sure the vertex where the corner is, where the corner of your angle is the middle letter. Okay, next one. Okay, so it has to give you some type of acknowledgement that is this box means that it is a right angle. Okay, so it has to give you the box, it has to tell you that it's a right angle, or it has to give you that 90. Okay, so what are the 2 ways we can write it? Remember, K is the middle letter. So JKL or LKJ. All right, last one. What type of angle does this look like? Well, it's not a straight angle. It looks bigger than 90. It's bigger than that 90 degrees. So this is obtuse. Okay, so we can do T, T, U, V, and V, U, T. The letters are very, very similar. Okay, again, U is the middle letter when you're writing the angles. Okay. All right, so again, today we learned what a ray was and what the sides were. So the sides are the 2 rays. The vertex is that middle piece where it starts. And the vertex is, again, going to be the middle letter. So that's all we have for today. And thank you so much. And have